Hey everyone, I thought I'd tell you about a couple scotches that we have on special right now at All Star. The weather is changing, and if any of you happen to be over by Smith River right about now, you definitely know that when it starts to get cold and a little bit stormy outside, sometimes the best thing to curl up with at night is a really nice little dram of scotch in order to warm you right up. So for those of you who happen to like peatier scotches, I wanted to mention to you we have some specials on the AnCnoc. Now for those of you who aren't familiar with it, this is the Knockadoo distillery. It has been in Scotland since like 1892, I believe is when it was founded. They started producing whiskey in 1894, and it was considered, the men that produced it were actually called the Men of Knock. So when originally peat was used as a fuel source, and so most scotches tended to have peaty notes to it just because peat was easily and readily available. And so in order to keep the distilleries going, you got peat in almost every scotch. As things modernized and they came up with different ways of powering the distilleries and different techniques, AnCnoc sort of is what came out of that Knockadoo distillery, and it has had no peatiness. So they say there's kind of an unofficial mantra at the distillery that says sometimes you have to go backwards in order to go forwards. And in the spirit of that, they actually went back to their roots, and they came out with a line of peaty expressions. And you have the Rutter, the Flaughter, and then the Cutter. All of these represent different tools that are used for cutting peat. Whether it's to get to easier pieces of peat or to get to tougher ones or wetter pieces of peat. And they all have up at the top of them a little number. Like the Rutter is 11 ppm or parts per million, 14.8 ppm, and then the Cutter is 20.5. And what that stands for is basically a phenol content of parts per million of peat. So you have a lighter peat, a medium peat, and then the heavy peat. And on the Flaughter, or the Rutter, the one that's the lighter peat, you're going to get a full-bodied, bursting with a lot of peaty richness, although you're going to get some soft undertones of honey and cream, toffee, and a little bit of leather. So really nice and very well balanced. The Flaughter one, again, that's the middle one. So if you have, maybe if you've tried an Oban and you like that, I would say the Rutter's probably more in your wheelhouse. The Flaughter one's going to be a little bit stronger, kind of edge you into that more peatiness. It's going to be warming, a very smooth experience. It's got a lot of peat and is intense, but it's also really, really rounded. So you're looking at little fragrant flickers of tobacco, leather, some brown sugar sweetness in that. With just a touch of the medicinal overtone. And I know sometimes when we say medicinal overtone, if you haven't drank scotch, that probably doesn't sound really good to you. If you are a peaty scotch fan, that medicinal quality is something that you're usually looking for. If you like it a little heavier, kind of in the Lafroig or the Ardbeg, I would probably suggest you check out the Cutter. Going to be more ashy with a slight apple core bitterness at it, leather, spicy vanilla. And then you're also going to get some pink grapefruit notes in that and some ripe orchard fruit. This is elegant, long finish, and just kind of has a big kaleidoscope of flavors and a bunch of peat, but it's going to definitely die out and probably leaving you wanting another sip of it. So now that I've explained these to you and hopefully convinced you just off their taste profiles to come in and get a bottle, what I will say is normally these guys run in the $60 to $65 a bottle range. We happen to have a special deal on them right now. They are actually currently right around the $30 range, so half off. And I would at least say that at this point, with them being on sale like this, they're not going to stick around for very long. So get in, get a bottle. If you can't get a bottle or get in to get one, you can always call in, and they're going to be online here very shortly. So you can always call in, or you can do your order online, and we'll save it till you can get in. Again, we've got the AnCnoc with the peaty version. I'm Marcy. I would suggest for me, I'm probably definitely more on the Rutter side. All of them are actually fantastic, but I suggest you get in and get a bottle before they're gone for good.